Welcome, everyone, to Blood and Iron Dead Man's Hand. Where we had left off, our coterie members, Alex and Shriek, had been sort of introducing their newest sort of domain residents, Dorian and Aaron, to some of the other major members of their domain. Firstly, the Hound, Raphael Singleton, but also importantly, Gerard Norris, a sort of older-looking Brujah, who is very much sort of the go-to when it comes to those who do not want their presence really widely known. Dorian also had a run-in with Sister Charity and her friend, and well, these members of the domain are now trying to find where it is that they fit in this rather overcrowded suburb of Dallas. While fights about feeding territory are rare, it could have ended very badly for Mr. Resner in confronting this friend of Sister Charity, as she was not about to let him go quietly when it comes to feeding on what they consider their property. With this newfound awareness, and possibly a rocky start to maybe a friendship, maybe a rivalry, the coterie comes together once again on a new night to get to know each other a bit more, to go about their routines, and maybe even solidify some ties between all of them. And so, as Aaron had informed them the night before, he would likely, on a daily basis, be found in a park nearby. This particular park having a gazebo alongside, and Mr. Resner, it seems to be rather fortunate that this is very close to your own little haven that you've been still setting up, but have claimed. It still has some final touches to make sure that it is 100% light proof, that it is going to fulfill all of your needs when it comes to your different wants and desires for it, but at the very least, there is a closet to sleep in, and that'll do for now. And Shriek and Alex are also have arrived at this particular location as well to sort of pick up their new domain mates. So I'd need everybody actually to start with a rouse check.
Oh, the pain. Pain begins.
Dice. Dice indeed. Okay.
And right away. Sounds about right.
The only one who gets a little hungrier waking up this evening is Shriek. But perhaps that's because some of the pests and some of the raccoons and maybe even the sugar glider have gotten a little handsy, and he needed to quickly get himself up, maybe a little bit more than he usually does, and so maybe has caused himself to get a little hungry as a result. The pets need food, and they need food regularly, and so they go digging for it sometimes.
Absolutely tearing everything up. I found one buried within the springs of my couch. Do you understand on like how hard it is to unwind them, especially once they get their tail stuck in the spring and just start screaming at you?
And you couldn't wake up until the sun had set in order to be able to free him. Poor thing.
I am quickly running out of sympathy for him at this point. Quickly running out of sympathy.
But you all arrive in your vehicles with Aaron and his clunky truck, with Alex. Alex, what does your car look like? I don't think we've ever discussed that.
I do believe it's just a little four-door hatchback.
Four-door hatchback? Just sort of
Yeah.
kind of run down or kind of clean looking?
It's a little bit, you know, it's definitely a second-hand vehicle, but it's functional.
Okay. Functional is good. Functional is where everything needs to be, and, you know, gas isn't exactly cheap either. And Shriek, you pretty much go everywhere on foot at the moment, right?
That is correct.
And Dorian, are you arriving in your usual fare? A luxury sports car?
Considering it's just around the street, I'm going to be pulling up in something a little bit different this time. It's going to be a lime green and black Dodge Challenger Hellcat.
Dodge Challenger. Okay.
Very, very classic lines of old muscle cars, but with a new spin on it. And I'm going to get out and go and greet everybody. Who would be there first?
I'm gonna go ahead and say Aaron is. You're gonna see him underneath the gazebo. Seems to have a knife out, carving away at a small little piece of wood. When he notices you, he waves politely, puts down the small token on to the railing of the gazebo. You notice it's looks to be some kind of animal head, but clearly, Aaron is no artist.
Good evening, Mr. Winters.
Evening, Mr. Resner.
How are you this fine night?
I'm doing alright. Can't complain none. I swear, every time I see you riding up some other kind of sports car over there. What's this one?
Oh, this one's special. You'll see.
Yeah, if you say so. Look, maybe it's not quite my place, but careful where you take those things. It's a little odd not having something like that out in the inner city. You know.
That's why I usually, unless I want to make a show, I go with my SUV. It's a little more, less ostentatious than I'm used to driving around in.
Yes, fair enough. No one's gonna question the sucker mom vehicle.
Yeah. They're useful, too. They can hold a lot.
Speaking of holding a lot, what? It's been kind of on my mind. About that lot that you had organized with the Hound there.
The
Is
storage
that
spaces.
storage unit?
Yes.
It's not. Is that only for your bar?
Mainly for right now, but I don't know beyond that. But, I needed a place to stage everything because I'd like to get things set up quicker than normal, and having to wait for things to come in when I already have suppliers and are able to get what I need quickly and move it myself. It seemed to make more sense.
Suppose so. Well, to my understanding, you're here. It's just you and I tonight.
I think everybody will show up if we give them some time, but there was actually something I wanted to talk to you after we break up and go our own ways. A sort of business opportunity.
Alright. I'm all ears.
I think you might have the connections to get it started and the skill set to keep things running. I think it would be beneficial for not only us as a coterie, but the domain as well.
Alright. Connections, I don't know necessarily about that.
Well,
Think you're overestimating me a bit there, partner, but we'll see. If you want me to just do a job, I can do a job.
this would involve a job. There's not much on the upfront, but I think on the back end it'll be very beneficial. I can take care of any shortcomings in the front end, though.
What's the job, Mr. Resner?
I'm thinking of setting up a delivery service for us. Things need to get transported from time to time. And I saw a lacking the other night when I was talking to some of our fellow constituents of the area. That if things go wrong and the Hound or the Scourge get wind of it, it's very easy for them to come in and sweep everything up. But if we can take care of problems for them, we could benefit and keep everybody safe as a byproduct. And if people get too out of hand, then, well, we can decide what to do for then.
Delivery service, cleaning.
Yes. A little bit of both, I believe. I, of course, would not condone willy-nilly uses of things, but as you know, sometimes we can't control ourselves. Sometimes the worst of things happen.
And what exactly do you believe this might entail in the back end, then?
I'm thinking gratitude and favors.
As a hypothetical.
Mostly gratitude and favors. Perhaps things that, whatever we could ask for. That's what I said. I don't think this would be a short-term profitable, but a long-term establishment of maybe giving us some leverage in this domain. If people come to depend on us, we could be the first stop if they hear a rumor, if they know something that's going on, and put us in a position that we can stay ahead of things, keep our heads above water.
Mr. Resner, I don't know much about business. I don't know much about investment, as you are saying. But I personally take my business up front, and I take payment up front.
That's understandable.
So, let's do this. You want a job done. You ask me when you want that job done. You'll pay me up front for it. Whatever the back end is, the back end.
That sounds like a good idea. That'll keep all parties happy. I just did not want to involve you further than you were comfortable with.
My comfort is knowing what I'm getting into. And knowing what I'm getting paid for. In every situation, Mr. Resner, I have to know precisely what it is I'm doing within the first 30 seconds of it happening. And that has become very, very much my reality since being a dead thing. So,
This is understandable and acceptable. I do not like to hide things or tell lies. It is not something within my nature. So you will get an upfront accordance with everything that I know.
so what's the job?
The job will be, first, is we need to secure a type of vehicle, preferably some kind of a box truck that is, with your predilections, not too new. That we can keep running to do the things that we need to, and I'm going to put the word out that if things needed to be transported or helped clean up, that we can provide a service.
Get a truck. Alright. I can do that. And I'll tell you what the upfront is. And he pokes the middle of your chest, Dorian. Just kind of sweeps his finger across the suit. I want one of those. Suit. I ain't got nice duds like that, so you gotta understand. Lila's gotta be good for some of these nights, right?
I think that is easily arranged. We'll take a ride after we meet up with everybody. I'll introduce you to someone. You'll enjoy them. My personal tailor.
Much obliged.
And, I'll continue, small talking unless you have anything else that you want to.
He kind of just listens to whatever it is that you decide to talk about, but he otherwise is rather silent for the most part. I takes out, has another piece of wood, like a stick, he just pulls off the ground and starts carving something out of that, and
Yeah.
again is very depressingly not artistic at all.
Yeah, I would just kind of pick up small talk. Maybe talking vehicles with them, favorite cars.
Alex and Shriek would eventually ride up and walk up as they do. You know, Alex in her hatchback and Shriek on foot, since his personal haven isn't terribly far away either. Most of the city of Arlington is, let's be real, it's only a couple of maybe 10 to 15 miles across, if that. And easily, a lot of residential areas are walkable-ish. You have to use a car to get to downtown, obviously, but most of the suburbs is pretty cozy and walkable, and may look strange that somebody's walking out in the middle of the night, but To each their own. So, everyone has gathered and has collected themselves.
As Alex pulls up and gets out of her car, she actually makes her way to the back and she pulls out this massive stack of books, which she carries over to the gazebo.
Dorian would go over and try to help and take half the stack off.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Getting into some heavy reading while we're here tonight?
Well, considering you all attempted to teach me how to use a gun last evening, I figured, at least Aaron showed some interest, that perhaps you can make some use of some occult knowledge.
That could be interesting. Knowledge is power, and I enjoy that.
You notice that in the stack of books, a lot of them are well read and maybe even fiction titles. A lot of fiction titles.
Aaron picks up. It's picking them up and just going through the pages, looking the front and back, it's got a dragon on it.
The one you're looking at is like a young adult's novel.
I want to hold it up. Twilight, really?
There's definitely no Twilight in there.
Sorry, I had to make the joke.
There probably is a copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula in there, though.
Okay, at least it was a good vampire book.
As well as a copy of the Bible and several other religious texts.
And then one of the most famous liches in the in known existence.
Wasn't expecting we'd be doing Bible study tonight, but I'll bet.
You'd be amazed at where you can find knowledge on the occult. Accurate knowledge.
It'd be too ironic to say that I sleep in a church.
You what?
He's just looking at the Holy Bible as he says this. He's not even paying too much attention. And nonchalantly just quietly nods to himself. Yeah.
Actually, that would make sense.
Funny story about that. Closes the Bible and sets it on the stack of books. Probably for another time, though. Where do I start?
It's probably funnier than you think.
See, now I thought it was just funny because of the vampire in a church thing.
Oh, it's more to do with what you are specifically.
No, you got me intrigued.
He's taken the bait, Alex.
Well, there is a theory that a certain biblical figure may have been one of your clan.
You see, Aaron is just processing that, and there is a certain it almost looks like the very thought just shot through his head. Went through one ear, out the other.
Also, psalms make incredible protection.
I might need to actually have to sit down and read some of this.
I mean, that's even before you even get to the fact that there are some hints at maybe some ancient biblical mythical monsters. But you'll save that for another day, of course, Alex.
Oh, yes. She's just grinning ear to ear, like, there is so much he can learn just from that one book alone.
Shrink, you have arrived not too much, not too far, you know, as your walking pace would take you, and arrive shortly after this little interaction, kind of seeing this stack of books and the 3 vehicles that are parked in the parking lot at the park at this hour. That it definitely looks like some kind of weird meeting, even from the outside looking in.
Dorian would get up and go and greet Shriek.
Wow. Mr. Resner. So good to see you again.
It's always a pleasure, Shriek.
I love it when they lie to me. So, gazebo, books, gathering. Are we performing a seance?
That would
I
be
mean,
fun.
we could.
Everyone gather around the fire, sing Kumbaya.
Good luck on that happening, darling. Well, sorry, boundaries. I have issues with them. That being said, sorry for here not being able to end up being around. I had a lot of errands to finish up. So, who wants to end up getting little old me caught up?
These two have met Gerard.
Must have went well. I see that you two are still standing. Fantastic.
Could have gone better.
Could have gone worse.
Please. Gerard's a lost little puppy.
I also asked him about 2 new faces that we've got in the area. Raphael is
Go ahead.
looking into some new blood that has popped up, and I offered to give him my assistance.
You know, if there's one thing about losing the Primogen title that I don't miss, is realizing that it's not my job to end up considering myself with an overpopulation problem. You know, it's like a huge weight off my shoulders. The problem being is the next weight off my shoulders will be my head. Just delicious, isn't it? Well, that being said, we end up having, what, an agenda tonight? A little hit gathering?
I'll go ahead
Not
and inform.
particularly.
Oh, sorry.
She's just said, not particularly. I figured I would just bring along some material.
Light reading, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. None of it is light reading.
I don't suspect it to be.
Aaron is like face deep inside one of the books. And you can see he's just got this scowl on his face. He's overanalyzing the shit out of it.
And there's highlighter and pen marks all in the margins, too.
To the best of his, unfortunately, clearly lower intelligence
Actually,
powers.
there are no pen marks in the margins. She does not write down any of her notes. Not for actual information. She's a Tremere. She keeps all that shit to herself.
But is there highlighter marks to highlight important passages? Okay.
No.
I think the point is to not leave evidence or give people a understanding that there is in fact a paper trail. If I'm reading the room right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She has an eidetic memory for these things, then.
Yeah. Absorbs that information like a sponge. It's one of the reasons why her sire picked her.
I would download Shriek on all the plans that I've enacted so far
Mm-hmm.
about
somebody's been busy.
the housing project, the bar setting up.
Do you tell him about your encounter with Sister Charity and her friend?
Yes, and the idea I had about that I'm putting into place.
Wait, Sister Charity?
Yes, her and her friend were rather miffed.
Over what this time?
Oh, I simply had a snack and was resting with them, waiting for them to come back so I could get them home. They did not like our choice of resting place.
You left that little bit out last night.
I didn't think it was too bad. It didn't end up being anything. And I think it's a something that I can build off of.
This is going to end up, well, hopefully it's just one of those little snags that never comes back to bite us in the backside and ends up being forgotten within the test of time.
Shriek, you would know enough about Terry Perkins that she doesn't forget things very easily.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You know, gangrel and all.
Well, I plan to try to sort that later, but...
So what are we sorting now?
Well, right now I have something that I have to do with Mr. Winters.
Look at that. The New Bloods are already conspiring against us. Isn't that just adorable?
Well, speaking of conspiring, I want to show you something, Shriek, and...
Oh, God.
I'll hold out an arm, like, to escort him over to the car. Joking. See if he takes it.
Oh, well then.
And I'll escort him over. This is my newest acquisition. I thought you were looking at the other car. No, I thought you might enjoy seeing what I got. And I was like...
Not opposed to that.
And I'll open it up and I'm like... The inside's been completely rhino-lined. The seats are of a certain type of canvas that is unappealing to certain creepy crawlies. And it has all the bells and whistles you could think of. It's the new model of Hellcat that just came out.
Ooh. Well, I'm sold on a first date.
I'm glad because it's yours, and he's just going to hold the keys up to you.
And you see that his tone drastically shifts at that point.
I noticed
All
you
right.
walking, and consider this a down payment on a very profitable friendship, and a thank you for all you've done so far.
No strings.
You could always see strings anywhere you want, but this is truthfully what I mean.
Then Freak is going to end up doing an insight, and let's get the failure rolls out of the way early.
And Dorian, you were being honest. That's a charisma